That BJ
Show.
That BJ Show.
I thought you were actually all singers, and this is that was terrible. That was good.
Hang on, vocalists and singers, I feel, are two different things.
Yeah, okay.
Possibly.
Yeah. Well. Welcome to That BJ Show. You are welcome for that beautiful ear-ringing silence of terribleness.
That peeked out of my ears too, I think, a little bit.
They
were dulcet tones, man.
Terrible.
Yeah, you hit the right notes over there, Mick. I felt that. That was soulful.
I was kind of hoping that it was going to go like, that BJ, that BJ, that BJ, that BJ. Yeah, anyway, get a little sixth in there.
I don't know. You gave me some real barbershop vibes then.
I went low.
I could hear him, but you guys would, terrible.
Yeah,
anyway. Fucking metal vocalist.
Metal,
yeah. Anyway, well, welcome to the show. This is episode 18, like I said. This is Benny.
I'm Ben.
And
this is Jay.
Oh,
and the two guests over here. Returning guests from some of our earlier episodes.
The boys are back in town.
Yeah. Two musos, as you can probably tell as well.
Yeah, Mick and
Yowie.
Yowie.
And Mick, or Mick and Yowie, depending which way you want to.
We're great.
You want to say it. Yeah.
Ape and Yowza, the Yowza and the ape.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
But say nickname basis too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought we were going to introduce ourselves. G'day, everyone. Welcome to That BJ Show.
Yeah. Well,
he does have a voice for radio.
He does.
Shit happens.
Yeah.
All right. We're here. We're live. We're doing it.
Yeah, we are. This is the episode.
On.
Right now.
We're on.
And we're going to talk about guns, God, and government.
And a whole heap of other things, and possibly even a bit of council work as well, because Mick's previous episode got a lot of feedback of the ins and outs of council workers. And one thing that stuck into my mind earlier this week, which I'm just going to kick it off with because I thought it was funny. Someone at work's like, imagine if Joe Biden and Donald Trump were Australian council workers.
Like labourers? See, I was thinking when you were talking about that, or when I saw that in one of the messages, I was like, is he a labourer? Are they labourers or are they managers?
Just unsure. Just imagine them in like Australian council.
Trump would be a leader. You know, he'd be a manager, a nice corrupt manager up the top there, and so would Biden. Biden would be even more corrupt.
It's very
and it's probably not
easy.
much different to what it actually is.
Biden would be the one that would be on break the entire time.
It's very easy to see Biden as a council worker. Like, extremely easy. I'm surprised now that you say it that he just doesn't walk around with high vis on.
He'd be in the customer service, like sniffing everyone's neck. Where did those funds go?
To my son.
To my son, to my crackhead family. Who knows? But that's the thing with how the hell is right, we know how he got in.
Yeah.
Right? We know how he got in because there was just this big never Trump thing with the media and all that. And so they smashed Trump, got him out of office. It was kind of nefarious on how they got him out of office. They don't know if there was dead people voting or what, because you don't even need ID to vote in America. It's
stupid.
That country is just the fucking Wild West, man.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, and they still don't have voter ID to this day. Still don't. They don't want it. Like the Republicans want it because it helps them get votes. Democrats are like, no, you don't need ID.
Yeah.
So, that's the thing where, he got in. But now if Trump gets in again, it's like going to be pretty interesting because he's got 4 years to try and clean up the mess that's now been made by Biden. Yeah. And this is the thing, it just flip-flops.
Yeah.
It flip-flops.
It's like in Australia as well. We've got a duopoly with Labor Liberal. It's the same thing at the end of the day. I found out years ago that Tony Abbott was giving money to the Democrat Party. And it's like, what? They're the opposite of what they are. So it's just the same thing. They all sign up to the same agreements. They don't represent the people.
Yeah.
So in reality, if Trump gets in, he's going to have to then turn around everything that Biden's done, and it's not. They don't have time.
Yeah.
Like that's what I was arguing with my missus about this morning. She's like, they're not going to have time anyway to clean up the mess that the last one made, and that happens in Australia too.
Yeah.
So the problem with the two-party preferred system all around the world is it's the same shit, just a different colour, and they all sign up to the same agreements. And drain the middle class, drain all the money from the people. That's how it's going. And they don't represent us.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's interesting to watch, but I get bored with it real quick, like you do.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't give a shit.
Yeah.
So I honestly do not care.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like if you look at, sorry, you go, Yowie.
No, I was just going to say, like, I understand that, like, especially American and Chinese politics have a direct effect on Australia and other countries.
Yeah.
But to what point? As in, how does it personally affect me?
Yeah.
So far, I haven't been personally affected by it. And not to sound selfish, because I'm not one of these people like, if it doesn't affect me personally, then fuck it. But when it comes to that shit, I kind of am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't give a fuck. Like,
At
what
the end
goes
of-
on over in America.
We all understand on a deeper level, on a surface level, that we're not represented anyway. The people that you put in, they don't represent you. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And when I say I don't give a fuck what goes on in America, I don't mean that about the people or anything like that.
They're
But
not
like,
represented. So,
But yeah, like as in this whole Trump Biden thing, I couldn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's also interesting as well? I was listening to the Meat Eater podcast last week, and I think the episode came out a couple of weeks ago or something. And you know the guy Meat Eater? He's like all
It
over.
was ringing a bell.
He's a hunter in America who basically harvests his own meat and does all this sort of. He's a really well known hunter. And
he'd be
harvester.
mates with Joe Rogan for sure.
Yeah, he is actually.
He'd have to be.
Yeah, he actually
elk
is.
together, Elk Brothers.
Yeah, no, he actually is.
Yeah.
He did a.
I probably have seen him.
He did an episode with Joe Rogan.
Yeah. There's heaps of Aussies that do that stuff too.
Yeah, there is.
That have been on his show.
Yeah, there's a few Aussies from memory, but he has a podcast. He has a show as well. He was like on Netflix and broadcast everywhere. And anyway, I digress a little bit, but basically he got what's his name? I think it's Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Is that him?
He's interesting.
He's an interesting character.
Yeah, man.
But I tell you what, one thing that sparked my interest when I was listening to it, because obviously the Meat Eater, I can't remember his actual name off the top of my head, but he is obviously for the lands, for the people, for agriculture and horticulture and all that sort of stuff, environmental. Like, he likes to keep the lands pure so that we can have the lands to harvest meat from, take advantage of having the lands there to hunt and to camp on and all that sort of stuff. And so he was talking to this RFK Jr. and the things that he was saying, very, very interesting. Like when he was talking about Trump and Biden and all that sort of stuff. And obviously, is it? Do you know? You obviously would know more about politics than I do. Probably. Is he the nephew? Of
JFK and all that.
JFK. Yeah.
The thing about that dude is he's maligned as a conspiracy theorist, because the problem is when you start speaking truth to power, especially in America, they will crush you. They will get rid of you. They'll cancel you.
Yeah.
And you have a look at all the people that have been kicked off YouTube and kicked off Twitter and all of it because of their views.
Yeah.
And if it goes against the narrative and it goes against these big corporations and stuff, you're gone. And then, that's the thing with Trump, is he doesn't give a shit. He's not bought. He's actually
He's the buyer.
Yeah, he's the buyer. Exactly.
So that's an issue in itself.
It's all business. Is it a conflict of interest with him? Probably a lot of the time it is.
Big time.
But at the same time, it's like he is, even if there's some nefarious thing going on with him, it hasn't really been found out yet. He is by far for the people.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, the groundswell in America for him this time around is.
You reckon he's for the people?
Yeah. That's why he's got such a.
RFK.
That's why he's got such a following, mate, because he actually.
Trump.
Trump.
Yeah, because he actually does. His policies are going to help the American people.
He's for a certain demographic of people.
He doesn't need to be for himself, because he's already got the money, mate. He can't be bought and sold. So what he did was he ruined their secret party. He let out all their secrets. And it's been going on in America for 50, 60, 70 years, is how they've been basically just draining all the money from the middle class in America. And he's exposed them. And they're like, what? Shut the fuck up.
But
Stop telling our secrets.
Who didn't know that?
The Americans, man, because now they do know. They
didn't know that.
I doubt it.
And then they trust another politician to not do it.
The thing about it is, it's just been going on for so long that the military-industrial complex, the big pharma and all those companies and all those corporations, they're what run America. It's not the politics. It's not the politicians.
Yeah.
It's the mullah. And the thing is he can't be bought and sold because he's already rich. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't need money.
There was a point in time where politicians like, at what point do you think in time where politicians went from more honest? I'm not saying every politician's dishonest, but like it's very hard to find a politician these days.
Pretty much in America after the Second World War, like Eisenhower warned about it and said, this military-industrial complex is going to continue, and it's basically a machine that just has to keep eating. That war machine. America's been at war since World War II.
Yeah.
Selling arms. That's all they do. So when you go to America and you go to the little cities and all that, all they make is arms in all the factories around America. Yeah. They don't make – China makes plates and cups and stuff.
Yeah.
America builds bombs. Yeah. And if they're not selling them, then, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
So they have to be at war all the time. So that's why they are.
Yeah.
So
actually, with your military background, was there a point where Australian military was almost – it was encouraged for them to, I guess, do more research on military and government overseas, or supporting allies or anything like that? Or was it just up to each individual soldier if they wanted to get involved in terms of just the information that's happening over in other countries?
Back then there wasn't as much information anyway. I was in the early 90s and no one, you did what you're told when you're in the army. You do what you're told.
No question,
you get to vote every year, same as everyone else, and generally 99% of people in the army would vote Liberal because they fund the army.
Yeah.
So, and Labor takes money off the army. The reason I got out of the army early, I got out after 3 years, is because Labor came in and said, you don't have to be here if you've been here for more than 3 years. So I was like, bye.
Yeah.
So they cut funding to the military and government, whereas Liberals spend money on it. That's just the way it is. But as far as having an opinion, I didn't really have one until I got out. And I was like, and it's the same as a lot of soldiers. Like once they get out, they're just like, what the hell was I doing? What was I thinking? Why did I, Australia's not that great a country as far as our neighbours and all that. We do a lot of damage in Papua New Guinea and all the Solomon Islands and all that. Our gold mines are just destroying those places. Yeah. We went and stole the gas from East Timor. Yeah. Indonesia have been pissed off at us ever since. Yeah. With that sort of stuff. Australia, because we're on the team. We're on the big boys team. Yeah. Like if it was Star Wars, we'd be the bad guys. We'd be the Empire. So
wow.
I reckon.
Yeah.
What a statement.
We're all about the money. We're not necessarily good guys. Australia's not necessarily a great country as far as our foreign policy and stuff.
Yeah. If you look at, so on that statement, if you look at someone who's running a country, do you think they're better off being of a business background or maybe of more of a human services background? Yeah. So like your traditional Trump who's just all about making money.
Maybe a bit of both, you know. Your treasurer is going to be a finance background anyway. Yeah. So this is the thing, everyone gets their seats or their portfolios or whatever. But that's the thing is it's you're always, is this person going to represent us properly, or is it just a populist thing? Yeah. So, and in a lot of countries like America and that, it is a populist thing. Yeah. Sort of cult of personality. Trump is probably going to get in just because of his rhetoric and the way he is. Not necessarily because, his policies, they might be good, but at the end of the day, like Miso was saying this morning, it's not going to change anything because in 4 years he's going to get the House anyway, and who knows who's going to come in next. Yeah. So he can't do it in 4 years, and especially if you haven't got the House and the Senate. Yeah, okay. It all gets blocked anyway. Most of his stuff got blocked last time that he was trying to do anyway. Yeah. So they just reverse it on each other. So like Yowza says, half the time it is a waste of time. If we didn't have to vote in Australia, I probably wouldn't either, to be honest with you, if we didn't have to. But... And the thing is we have to, and it's usually, even if you're not voting for one or the other and you vote the Green, they give their preferences. The way they've got it, you're either going one way or the other, but it's the same thing anyway. Yeah.
But that's the thing why I like that statement of like, do you get someone who's more business-minded or more resource like for the land type of thing? And that even goes back to my statement before of like talking about RFK Jr., where I'm thinking, he's coming from the side of like, like you said, Americans are kind of always against it in the way, but at the same time, it's like if he's more for the people, more for the land, trying to maintain America for America, making sure it stays more pure. And then he even made a statement of like America needs to stop pushing so much money towards the army and actually giving more money back into places where it matters.
That's the thing is that America needs to internalise and get their own country fixed.
Yeah.
And Robin Williams was talking heaps about that before he died. He was like, bring all of our military home. Like, there's American bases all over the world. They don't need to be there.
Yeah.
Bring them all back home. Look after your own country. They did have energy independence last time Trump was in. They need it again.
Yeah.
They probably will get it again. We need it. Australia, we don't even have energy independence. And it's just so weird that we ship all of our stuff off to get manufactured somewhere else and bring it back. It's just
stupid.
Yeah, I've seen videos and stuff of how they import export stuff and how like a piece of steel to buy in Australia has to go to China first, get made, brought back. Yeah, things just go around the world 3 times.
Yeah.
And then they talk about environment, and it's like, well, it's kind of a lost cause in reality. Like you can fight it and talk about it and all that, but it is what it is. It just keeps on rolling. You wake up the next morning, it's still there, it's still happening. Yeah, there's not much you can do about it. I guess that's a shitty attitude, but
it does suck. Sorry.
When you were saying RFK wants to keep it pure, in what sense?
In the sense of that, he wants to stop these mining companies from destroying the desert or destroying whole forests because they're just trying to have they're trying to mine for the oil or whatever it is for the energy source. Like he's like, why don't we? And he was working in some sort of, obviously this is all paraphrasing because I'm not him obviously, but I remember he was talking about nuclear energy, how he was saying that that he doesn't support nuclear energy, but he has also worked in a lot of those sectors because he's I can't remember, he's some sort of scientist of some description or something like that.
It's interesting with nuclear energy because if the thing about it is actually at this day with the technology they got, it is actually probably one of the cleanest, best ways to make energy. But if it fucks up, it fucks up really bad. So that's the problem with it. And the technology, those Japanese ones that went off and all that, they're old. They've got little tiny ones all over France. They've got them everywhere now. In the UK, they've got heaps of nuclear power. But the problem is, like, let's just say that you do end up in a hot war or something. You hit one of them, game over. Like, that's the thing. Or if they fuck up, they really do damage the environment. So it's not on paper, it's probably the best way to make energy. But there's too many cons if it fucks up.
Yeah, that's right.
As far as my policy with, me thinking about nuclear energy in Australia, I've always just been like, nah, just don't do it. Or if you do it in Victoria.
Actually, speaking of
Tassie.
Dan Andrews.
At the time of recording now, what was it they did? Something in Tassie or something? Is that right? I don't know. I don't keep up with it as much, to be honest, but they had it on TV the other day about some sort of nuclear energy program down in Tassie.
Right.
You didn't see that?
No.
I'll be surprised if the Tasmania
won't let that happen. No way. They won't even build a dam there.
I don't even. Sorry, I could be wrong. I'm not too sure, but as far as I'm
Victorians
aware,
want it. Let them do it.
Yeah.
I've seen on 2 separate documentaries that Tassie has the cleanest air and water in the world.
Yeah. It's gorgeous. New Zealand. It'd be either there or South Island, New Zealand.
Is there a reason for that?
Probably where it's located, and that people are very environmentally conscious.
See, then that's the thing, right? Going back to that being environmentally conscious and then trying to save the lands, right? So New Zealand are really good at it, and Tassie are really good at it
because they don't have any resources down there either to mine. So that's the thing.
So
New Zealand's got a little bit of coal, not much. They've made any tourism, and fishing and stuff. Tasmania doesn't. I don't think they've got a whole lot. They've got logging and stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas sort of Queensland is massive for mining.
Yeah.
And it's you need to find a happy medium between wrecking the environment and mining it. But at the same time, if you're going to mine it, the government has to have the balls to tax these companies properly because most of them aren't Australian. Yeah. Most of them don't pay tax. And that's what happened to Kevin Rudd. Yeah. He went against them and said, we're going to tax you properly, and next minute, stab in the back. Julia Gillard gets in and says, we'll just tax you 1% like we have been. Yeah. They're all in cahoots.
That's the whole thing, man. Like, so people like RFK and that, like I'd probably be more inclined to want to see someone like that in power. Yeah. But I also know that big business will shut him down.
To it. Yeah. And that's the thing. You notice how a lot of Australian politicians will sell us out, sell us, do deals with China, do deals like Anna Bligh, for an example. She's the Premier of Queensland, sells Queensland Rail, sells all these public assets. Next minute, she's on the Commonwealth Bank board. Next minute, they're on this board. So this politicians and lobbyists, they become lobbyists, and that's just another word for white-collar corruption in Australia. It's really bad. ABC were going to do a big expose on it, and it got pulled on them. They were like, nah, shut up.
Yeah.
So Australia's really corrupt as well. It's not just America. People like joke about how corrupt America is. Australia's really bad too. We just do it nicely.
Yeah.
And it's white-collar corruption, and it's, the list of politicians that's been in cahoots with China over the last 20 years is nuts, and the amount of shit that we've sold out to them. And another thing with those guys is they all end up on the board of so-and-so or so-and-so, and it's like, and then you go back and follow the money, and you see that their campaigns were being funded by these companies, and then they end up on the board with a cushy job.
Yeah.
So it's just all corrupt anyway, so... In reality, unless it's really hard for us to have a revolution in Australia when everyone's just fat and happy and going to Bunnings and BCF. No one gives a shit.
Yeah.
It was the same when COVID hit. No one gave a shit. Like, people was like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
As long, people are very blasé in Australia. You need a starving public to actually have a revolution.
Yeah.
You're not going to have that here, ever.
I was literally about to say, like, to summarize that, it just seems like people are giving it like less of a shit these days.
They don't care. People are worried about they're paying their rent and stuff.
Yes, like to totally like throw a different point of view into that convo, I know a few people I've been speaking to recently who don't want kids because they don't want their kids growing up in the world that is looking like it's forecasting. Like that's a big thing these days.
I rolled with that with my life. I never had kids, and it was like I was like sort of, not a bad thing. I was like, because I used to be a lot more cynical and narcissistic and not care, like, because I just saw how shit everything was, and I was just like, man, I'm not bringing kids onto this planet.
Exactly.
No way.
If us as adults are really starting to
I've got
feel
heaps
like
of friends like this too. I've got lots of mates that don't have kids.
Yeah.
And the ones that do, it was an accident.
Yeah.
So, and they've done the best with it that they can. But at the end of the day, I don't blame them, and I don't blame myself for not wanting them, that's the thing. But hopefully, that's the thing. It's just keeps rolling and rolling. It's been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
But the internet and all this sort of stuff, it's made people more aware.
Yeah.
But now there's information wars. So now there's all this disinformation, and that's the war now.
Yeah.
It's like, what's real? I don't watch mainstream media ever. I haven't watched it for years.
The other side of that whole kid thing, but is if you raise your kids right, they might bring about some change.
Yeah. Yeah. I almost feel like some people have just written off the future for anything that they're just not giving a shit, and so therefore it's hard to turn that around. I don't know how you're going to do that. I understand, like, if you want to be like real poetic about it, like every single person can make a change, but it's almost like, can one person make a change, or do you require 100,000 people making a change that add up to something more significant that can make a change? Like,
well, one person can kick it off.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like, does people power actually work? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Dude, it's all about money. We know that.
Yeah.
So if you do anything, like whether it's if you want to cause an uprising or whatever, if you make the politicians know they're going to lose money, they stop. They stop. It is seriously about money.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They're all bought and sold as well. They're all owned. They're owned. But most of the time.
But if the people go, like, say you want to do the green energy thing or whatever, if the people go, we're not doing this anymore, we're not getting coal-powered this, we're not getting blah, 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 they will shift because they have to keep making money.
Yeah.
So I think we have more power than we're led to believe. I think that's the issue.
Yeah. The thing with the green stuff or the coal stuff or electric cars and all that, so they're going.
Oh, but they
just sell our coal to China.
Yeah,
anyway.
but that's just an example. Like, it's anything.
There's hundreds of examples on sort of.
What's actually interesting about that the few statements you made just then about one, obviously people having the power to do something and spearhead something, and also how you were saying, Yowie, you said at the end of the day it's still kind of about the money, right? Yeah. Sort of transition this conversation over into more of the guns section of it. In just a quick education about Queensland and Australia as well. when we're talking about guns and stuff like that in Australia, obviously we all understand the gun laws here are very strict and all that sort of stuff, and compared to America, which is actually good, by the way. It's a good thing that our guns...
I think so.
It's a good thing, in my opinion, and that's someone who I will openly go on record saying I do have a gun license now. And I'm a hunter. I used to hunt years ago with my uncle. But up in Queensland, sticking back to this sort of guns and government section of the podcast, is that now, like, I want to go hunting in Queensland, but I can't go hunting on public property, like public land.
No.
In Queensland, you can only public land hunt in Victoria, New South Wales, and Tasmania at this stage. And then so when we're talking about like what one person can do to make a difference to change that, there are a lot of us single people who want to make a difference and make it happen. But at the end of the day, it still comes back to the government have to realize that there is actually money in that as well.
Yeah.
Because like on our opinion of the hunters side of it, we're all going to say we want public land hunting access because we want public land hunting access, so we don't have to rely on private land all the time to go hunting. Because it is hard to get like access to private land if you don't know anyone.
Yeah.
And even if you do know people, sometimes you can't get access to those properties because...
So you're not talking about national parks, you're talking about Crown land.
Crown land, that's
which
correct.
there's vast amounts of in Australia, in Queensland? Or
There is, but at the same time as well...
Most stuff's owned by someone, isn't it?
Going back to it, yes. The thing is with Queensland specifically, and I haven't looked into it enough to know all the numbers of it, but obviously there's a lot of land, the Crown land that is owned by like China, for example.
Right.
Which then comes back to the whole, a lot of Queensland is resourced out for mining and stuff like that, right? But we have national parks and we have Crown land. We have the resource to be able to go public land hunting if the government were to flick a switch to us to give us that ability to, right?
I don't think the public could ever be on the side of letting people hunt on national parks.
But see, this is
even though hunters are responsible, 99% of them, they're like, they might shoot a koala.
Nah. You know? But see, this is the thing actually, and this is the reason why I wanted to talk to you threes, right? Yeah.
Or some hiker or something. You can't have people. That's the thing. It's like the government here, man, it's a nanny state and they're not going to let... They're just not. It's not like Texas. Like the odds of getting hit by a stray bullet in America are pretty high. But if you're walking around a national park in America and you get shot, are pretty high.
No, I shouldn't laugh at that.
It's true, man.
You know, it's funny you say that because this is the reason why I wanted to speak to you three specifically, or any other non-hunter who I'd imagine that all three of you don't hunt, you don't shoot for the majority. I know you obviously were in the army as well.
Yeah.
And Yowie, you said your father.
He's an avid shooter.
Yeah. So, but all you three don't currently shoot. And you don't.
No, I don't have a weapon. I've got archery stuff, but not.
Yeah. Okay. So
no guns.
I love archery.
Just arrows.
Yeah.
Archery's
bullets
cool,
this long.
Yeah, exactly. Now, see, the thing is, right, Queensland have said that every time they've tried to, like somebody's come forward, so say the KAP, the Katters Australia Party, they've come forward and put a bill forward to say, hey, we want to change the law in Queensland. Let's open up public land hunting, put it on a trial for like 3 years, right? Queensland government have said, no, it's a matter of public safety.
Yeah. The Labor government's never going to let that happen. Not a Labor government.
That's the thing is, right, so see, Victoria, New South Wales and Tasmania all have had public land hunting for years and have allowed have allowed Australian residents to go hunting on those public lands. And obviously we got to understand as well is that those lands that are dedicated for hunting, one, have seasons, two, they're not just the average, park that you go into and you camp and you feed the ducks and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, right. It's for hunting, right?
Yeah.
And so, and obviously, and it's different in each state. New South Wales.
It would have to be designated areas of public land, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just any public land.
No, not any public land. So that's the thing is,
You'd pay a fee and all that shit.
That's
have a
why
hunting season and
Victoria is completely open. You can go there as long as you have your gun license or you just shoot bows. You have different rules and stuff like that. New South Wales, they have it's called an R license. You have to apply for this R license to be able to hunt on the public lands. But like I was saying to my mates as well, and we're going to be talking about this in a podcast that him and I are going to be starting. But for everyday people, they I think they need to understand that allowing hunters to go hunting on a national land, like on public land, doesn't mean that we're putting public at risk. Yes, it's more risk than not, because obviously if you're putting apples next to apples, if we don't have hunters on public land, then obviously you drop the numbers drastically. But the thing is, Victoria, New South Wales, and Tasmania already have it, and the numbers of accidents that have happened in those 3 states, fuck all. We don't even. I don't know the full numbers, but I know that there's fuck all accidents.
Yeah.
So as far as a public safety thing goes, but the thing I was sorry to take this back, so I don't ramble on too much about this, but I was actually going to see what you guys thought about that, because there are a lot of Australians who do want to go and hunt on public land, like myself. And like even tying it back to just pre-show, Benny and Yowie and I were talking about, what's the attitude of hunters going out, getting their own wild game, harvesting the meat from it, taking it back home, and we're not tapping into that market of.
I don't think most people would probably be for it, but that's the thing. It doesn't matter what the people want most of the time.
Yeah,
that's it's what about if in America, you can go on tours and stuff where you got your park rangers here and all that for the national parks and stuff. They could get government employees to actually sort of have to run those parks or whatever that are for hunting, and then the government makes money from it. They, then again, they've got to spend money to make money, sort of thing. I don't know. It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, the other thing about that too. So bringing it back to the money thing is that the Queensland government would actually benefit greatly financially from it, from a few different aspects. Obviously, there's public liability insurance. That's obviously a big thing that they would have to look at. But the other aspect of it is that they spend, I don't even know how many millions of dollars each year they spend on what they call 1080 poisoning to cull off all the animals from the choppers.
If you could have it so you checked in with rangers in a national park and you go and hunt feral animals,
yes,
then that's a no-brainer.
I think if it's done,
that's a
properly,
no-brainer to hunt anything that's not native.
Yeah,
go for it.
I think if it's done properly and managed well, I don't have an issue with it.
Yeah,
I'm a cat lover, but feral cats, shoot them.
Man.
That's the thing. They're very. You have to be. This is the thing, but you got to be a good hunter to get a feral cat.
Yeah,
they're
these things are
incredibly destructive,
sneaky.
man.
Yeah,
I've shot many.
So the dogs, dogs, foxes, rabbits, any of that, So any feral pigs, my God.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Of course, most Australians be like, yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Get in there. They do pay people to go into national parks.
That's correct.
And kill the pigs and kill the
that's right.
cats and this and that. But we're fighting a losing war. So then if you got hunters to go and do it, then that'd add to it. As long as they don't hit any native animals. Yeah, well, that's the thing, And if you do, there's massive penalties for it and all that. And most hunters know what they're hitting. They've got scopes. They can see what it is.
Yeah.
Is the issue for the government, you think, not wanting to put arms in the hands of mentally unstable people?
Well, they don't. You can't. You can't.
Not legally.
So when you take certain medications, you can't get a gun license for life. Yeah. It's no, you've had mind-altering. You've been on certain antidepressants and stuff.
Yeah.
So I've got family members who have been on antidepressants. They've then gone for a gun license. Nope.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. No, they're really strict on it here, mate. They're onto it.
Yeah.
So myself, I was done many years ago for cannabis. And the thing about that was I went to go and get a gun license not long after. And they're like, just don't bother for 5 years.
Yep.
Even though I didn't get convicted. So I went to court and everything. Didn't get a conviction. Just got a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
But because of that, don't bother getting a gun license. Don't even turn up there.
Yep.
After until 5 years is up. So they're very strict in Queensland on who they will and won't give guns to, and it's a good thing.
Yeah,
and
very sure.
do we need people in the public, out in the suburbs here with SKS or an assault rifle? No, you don't, sort of thing. You know.
Well, see, that's the thing. You can't get them anyway, or not legally.
You used to. That's what I'm saying. You used to be able to, but that's that's a good thing. I don't think there's any need for someone to have an SKS in public. In the suburbs in Townsville or any city.
Yeah.
You don't need that. A bolt action rifle will do enough damage anyway. So
well, see, that's the thing. Going back to your statement before, Benny, is that you say you don't want people going into these national parks or public lands, with guns, and the truth is that there are hundreds of thousands of Australian residents already that are armed. We have weapons. We live in suburbs. We live in apartments. We live in rural lands. And we have guns, but we've gone through that rigorous process of trying to get the license to then get the guns. And there's also that's why I said at the start, we actually have good rules in Australia.
Yeah,
in reality, the government would prefer it if no one had weapons. That's why they've made it so hard.
Yeah.
Is they'd prefer it if everyone just went, you know what, I couldn't be. The reason I don't have guns, it's not only just because my missus doesn't like them, right? That's the main reason most blokes don't have guns, because otherwise I probably would.
Yeah.
But the thing about it as well is that it's the inconvenience of the coppers coming around all the time and checking on your house and blah, blah, blah. There's all that, but they make it that hard that most people just don't bother.
Yeah,
that's the reason I never bothered. After the first time around when I went to do it, they're like, come back in 2-3 years' time when that 5 years is. I was like, I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
It's such a rigmarole. I love shooting. And I've got a good mate, one of my good customers. He's actually like a Queensland, he goes to the titles for pistol shooting and all that, and he's just a gun nut.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's pretty sort of responsible. But he spends so much money, and everything's a lot more expensive here. They just make it really hard.
Yeah. It is expensive, yeah.
So, it's like $1 a round.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Depends on the round, yeah.
You can get rid of 100
more than
rounds
that.
in 5 minutes. It's expensive, eh?
Some rounds, yeah. I mean, some rounds we're paying like $3.50 minimum
That's
for a round.
the thing. So, they've made it that hard. Most people don't really bother.
Yeah.
So the people who do want it, really want to do it, they want to be responsible. We're talking about most people. But
Was there a point? Oh, sorry, you go, Yowie.
Oh, no, I was just going to ask, were you doing hunting and stuff before all the gun laws became?
Well, the gun laws have been strict for years.
Since Port Arthur, he would have been a kid.
Yeah, but I remember as a kid, going to Kmart.
Yeah.
And Dad was buying ammo
Yeah.
at Kmart.
It was since Port Arthur. But once,
Yeah, man. Back when you could still smoke and put your durry out in the sand-filled ashtray in the middle of
pub.
Kmart.
Or
In the shop.
Yeah, Kmart had shotguns, mate.
No,
when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Well, that too, but you could put cigarettes out in the middle of a shop.
Yeah, in the ashtray.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Smoke on a
There you
plane,
go.
dude.
Yeah,
You
you
smoke
yeah,
on a
yeah.
plane.
When I was a kid, I used to
during the era of
smoke
smoking on a
walking
plane.
around Stockland.
Yeah.
In the shop.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
There was ashtrays in the shopping centres.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Fuck yeah.
Unreal.
And that was the thing. Port Arthur changed it all in Australia. It was our first and biggest and worst mass shooting.
Well, that was going to be the question I was
Angus-
actually about to ask. is
Angus
what year?
That was
Roberts.
it. That was 1990. I was in the army, wasn't I? How old was it? I'm just trying to think. I wasn't old.
Yeah.
It was
When was Port Arthur?
Yeah.
About 97, I
it
thought.
was late 90s, man. I
thought around 97.
Ever since then, it's just went, they went, right,
Yeah.
we're taking them off here. Like
Yeah.
Jim Jeffries, his comedy bit on it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's like they just turned around and said, right, you lot, that's it. No more. Took them off office. And
Yeah.
so, is it a big thing on civil liberties and all that? It's sort of, you can argue for both sides.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can, you can. And it's like, but do I want my neighbour to own an SLR? Probably not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
But it's that, what was that? Oh, you probably won't live in here. But there was
Not
that
Townsville.
sports store in the mall. Was it Angus Roberts?
Yeah.
Or Angus something?
Before they closed it all in. Sorry, before they opened it up, sorry.
Yeah. Was it Angus Roberts?
I can picture the shop. I think it might
yeah,
have
but
been.
you used to be able to go in there and buy crossbows, rifles,
Yeah, right.
hunting knives,
yeah, when I grew up, there
and
was
a football
shotguns.
and a pair of shoes while you were
that
there,
sounds
you know.
awesome.
Crossbows.
I'll take one
Yeah,
of them.
man.
Yeah.
Texas is still like
Yeah.
that. You can go to Walmart and buy
That's
a
right.
shotgun and a pair of shorts and a,
Yep.
and a I don't know, Rambo DVD.
It's such a wild thing to think, though. Hey, it's such a wild thing
Texas
to think
is
that
just all about freedom, man.
Yeah.
Like you can own a tiger. You know, there's more there's more tigers in captivity in Texas than there are in the wild. So think about that.
Yeah.
well, in people's backyards.
Yep. That's no shit. Google it.
America's awesome.
Really?
Texas is nuts, man. It's just like I've been there and it's pretty funny, but at the same time, you're like doing these ones all the time because everyone's armed.
Yeah.
You don't go picking bar fights and shit. You just don't. People, it changes your society. Like you don't. You know, you don't have as much. People are a lot more respectful in Texas. They are.
Yeah.
They're all very polite and shit.
It's like.
You go picking a fight there, there's a good chance you'll get shot.
Yeah, it's like Ice-T. Like talk shit, get shot.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Just to fathom that like people live like that.
Yeah.
You know, like imagine here in Townsville,
It's pretty cool
you go
to
to
go and see.
Stockland. Couple of young rowdy kids are there like terrorizing shop owners, and someone just pulls out a gun and like does a bit of their own obedience with it sort of thing.
That's the
You
thing.
know,
That's
like-
the problem with it. That sort of crazy shit happens.
Yeah,
And then countries like addicted to opiates as well, and like there's just drugs galore.
I don't know, man. Like
Society in collapse.
the concept of freedom just seems skewed. But
Well, that's
like,
the
who
thing.
gives I can own a tiger if I want. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Is that seriously
That's
what you're
freedom.
Yeah.
That's the height of what you want in your freedom to own a tiger.
I can own a tiger, but my wife or my girlfriend or whatever can't have an abortion if she wants one.
Yeah.
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 You
Like-
can, but I don't know if the government just won't fund it. That's the thing. It's like you can get
You can go to jail in some states
Yeah.
over there for having an abortion.
It's pretty crazy.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
They have
And
it's-
they encourage
Like the pro-rights activists are that strong.
Yeah, and they
Wow, okay.
encourage.
There's a lot of
there's a
Bible
whole
Belt
thing
stuff.
over there, man, where you can dob whoever. If you know someone's having an abortion, you can dob them in.
But all
Yeah.
you do is you go to another
Like, it's
state.
encouraged, man.
If you're going to have one, you just go to a state where you can have one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
You can just drive there and do it.
well,
Yeah.
what's freedom is that?
Yeah.
It's not.
You know what's also interesting about that type of freedom too is that even in Australia we have to be really careful as like firearms holders, firearm license holders. Is that you know, I'm a lot more wary now after being licensed to be like, I don't want to touch anybody. If somebody comes at me, I'm really wary of like what self-defense I would use against them now, because I'm like, I don't want to be convicted that I assaulted that person, because that
You lose
instantly lose your
Yeah.
license.
It's the same. You can't have a security license. You can't do any of that sort of stuff if you assault someone.
Yeah.
It's a pretty, like, it's kind of shitty because you can't even defend yourself half the time.
yeah.
Or someone can mouth off to you and you can't slap them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just
And
use
you'll
your
lose your
gun.
gun license.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just use your gun. Problem solved. You'll
I
only,
didn't
do
say it.
it, you'll only do it once. You can't. You're like, oh, I can't even say that.
No.
That's the thing. That's the thing. It's like I don't plan on getting one, so I can say it.
What do you think
That's
I've got it?
Yeah, You only get to use that card once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That you know what? To be honest, like I remember many episodes ago, Jade's first one where she was talking about how she just doesn't give a fuck anymore about anything, and I'm like, I'm surely getting to the point now after having a kid. I'm in a place where I just don't care about a lot of things. I do, and I don't mean to sound insensitive, but it's like, I am surely getting to the point where I'm like, fuck, I get that idea of just going out bush and living out and just living off the land.
So many people want to do that.
Yeah.
And the thing, when I was in
mate.
my early 20s and everything, I was like, fucking, I wanted to save the world.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where all these young uni guys and women, you know, they're like, they want to save the world. They want to make it a better place. As you get older, you just get more jaded because you just see the same patterns over and over again. And you're just like, you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's like, that's why I ended up just living in the back of a noon bar out in the swamps, doing my own thing, growing my own things.
Yeah.
And, you know, I ended up being a hermit out there pretty much. I've come back into the society in the last few years.
Yes.
Now I've got a
Mick was clean shaven at one point too.
Oh, wow.
That's when I was what was I?
Was that when you were a council worker?
I don't think I was clean shaven ever. I've always had a goatee.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I got a double chin, so I got to hide it. So I've
fine,
always had
mate.
to hide it with the goatee. Now I
been
think I've got about
clean.
4 now.
Yeah.
hidden under there.
Yeah.
I've got more chins than Chinatown.
Wait, so you mean that out of all the council shenanigans you pulled, you could pretty much get away with anything bar not having a beard? They weren't making you.
No, I just saying. You're saying clean shaven. I'm like, when?
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the council was telling you to be
what
clean
part
shaven.
of my body was clean shaven?
Yeah. Well,
when and where?
yeah.
Like, no, I've always had a beard. But what do you mean?
You would have been clean in
I
the
had
army,
short
you
hair.
wouldn't?
Yeah.
I had short hair. I grew it when they made me tear my shed down in a noon bar. Right, so
Why?
one of my managers,
shed?
one of my foremen, he was a real prick, right?
Is this at your house or for work?
My house,
Oh, okay.
and so he's gotten on. So he knew that I had a shed out the back that wasn't council approved. So he's gone and dobbed me in. So this is council workers dobbing. So he's gone and dobbed me in to the local laws officers. So they've come around and like I'd bought the house with the shed on it. Right, so that shed had been there since the 60s.
Yeah.
So I've bought this house. They've come around that, mate, you have to tear that shed down. It's not council approved. I said, get the fuck off my property. This is me, council worker, to another council worker. I said, get the fuck off or I'll put this shovel over your head. And he's like, then the lawyers were ringing me from the council saying, if you don't pull that shed down, it's a $5,000 fine, blah, blah, blah. I've rung my old man. I'm like, should we fight him on this? And all that? He's like, just tear it down. So I cut that shed down. It took me like all weekend with a grinder, pulled this shed down and then never cut my hair again, never shaved again, and just went full jihadi on the council.
Yeah.
So just my attitude just changed totally overnight after that. I just started having non-stop sickies, just run amok on them. Joined the union, full unionised, went full CFMEU, full militant, ended up getting that particular manager, that foreman, he got run out of town. He got sacked by the council.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went after, like, I just thought, I ended up just becoming like an incel in the council.
Yeah, you were the Karen of the council work.
Pretty much, man. And it was like, they'd be like, can you do this? And I'd be like, nah. That was my answer, nah.
You're that martyr. Like everyone comes to you to get the work done.
I just didn't cut my hair again. They were like, you're looking like shit these days. I'm like, I don't give a fuck anymore about this job or this place. You can all get fucked. And I'm in a truck with a dude and the council made him shoot one of his dogs or kill one of his dogs because it bit someone or whatever.
Yeah.
So he'd gone jihadi on them like 15 years beforehand. So he's like, get everything you can out of these pricks. So we just steal, beg, no matter, just sell, I'm not going to get into too much and incriminate myself, but put it this way, the council has got more people working from within it to destroy it than the actual managers anyway. So
sounds like Parliament.
it's just a toxic work environment anyway. So that's the thing. If the foreman, if people are going to do that to their staff, you just like, fuck you. So that was the end of it. That's where the shenanigans really started.
Yeah.
But that was like, but within 3 years, I'd left and sued the shit out of them anyway. Yeah. So because I'd hurt my back by then.
Yeah.
So that was the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that last episode.
Well, yeah.
About your back incident and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And
So that's the thing. They get, it was like tit for tat. They were trying to get me to quit, and I was just, nah, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So at one stage, they pulled me out of my asphalt truck. They knew my back had it, and they put me in a concrete crew.
Yeah.
Because they wanted me to do concreting with a fucked back.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, if my back goes out again, I'm going to sue the fuck out of you guys. And they're like, we don't care. Go for it. I'm like, righto then. So I lasted a year in the concrete crew, and then boom, one morning I was like, I pulled over the side of the road and I just rang my boss and said, mate, my back's blown out again. He goes, I'll start the paperwork now. And I went on compo for about a year or something. And then I got paid out. And then it blew up in their faces because it was just sort of like I ended up getting paid out from them for it. I would have been a good worker if they hadn't have made me tear my shed down. It's just like I fucking play the long game, man.
Yeah, right.
And I played the long game on the Townsville City Council and won.
Don't get angry, get even.
Fuck you, council. And now my shop, the sign of my shop faces HR at the council. So when you look out the council windows in the city, you look across, all you can see is Rock 8 Records.
Yeah.
And I had the HR women walking across the car park when I first opened the shop, and I yelled out to them because I know her. And I yelled out, hey, Christine. And she's like, look, they looked at me and I went, thanks for the money. And they all just stood in the car park and shook their head, and I'm like pointing at me sign because they were like trying to not pay me out because they were like, if he can go and he was talking about opening a record shop. I'm like saying to the lawyers, nah, I'm not doing that. I can't ever work again. Blah, blah. So there you go. So thanks, Townsville City Council. Thanks for the money. And you can come try and get it back, but blood stone, you know the old saying.
Yeah. That's for tearing down his shed.
That's
you
for
pricks.
tearing my shed down. Okay?
What was in that shed?
Nothing. I had my boat in it, and they're like, "You're using it. It's on council land." And I'm like, "Fuck!" And I said to them, "All right." I took the boat out and said, "Okay, so that's council land there. You own it. You tear it down."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Nah, you have to fucking do it." I'm like, "No, I don't." And they're like, "It's going to be $5,000." It went back and forth for ages.
Yeah.
So I just went, "All right, I will get my money back from you." That shed's got to be worth at least $300. So that's the thing. Just leave me alone. That's the thing. People just want to be left alone. I'm glad they did it, but because I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't have gone jihadi.
Reminds me of that dude over in the States with the killdozer.
Oh, yes.
Dude.
Like one dude just
man.
handing it back to the government, you know.
I love that story.
Tragic story, but
I'm
you're like,
sad he died, but
you're looking at it, you're like, fuck, like that guy really just had a vendetta to just make things right in his mind.
Yeah.
He's going to fuck it, do it.
And the funny thing is you talk to people that are still in the council, and it's just as bad as it ever was.
Yeah.
Nothing changes. Yeah. And it's just, you know, the funny thing about council jobs, they're the same world over, because I worked for a council in Scotland. So mowing the graveyards and stuff, and those dudes were exactly the same as the council here. And I've worked for a council in Brisbane on Russell Island down there, and it was exactly the same attitude.
All the same.
It doesn't change. It's work. And in America they work for the city. It's called working for the city.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. It's like just a bunch of bongos basically on shit money, but it's secure.
Yeah. Do you think people are just there to have a secure job, to retire with a good super?
That's why there's so many old dudes in the council, because they just get in there and just dig in like a tick and they just turn up every day like a drone. There's an old saying at the Townsville City Council, leave your brain at the gate. Yeah. So you just every morning drop your brain off and then go in.
I feel
do your 8 hours or whatever it is and then come home, shut your mouth, and, you know, do as little as possible because you get paid fuck all.
Yeah.
There's no incentive. It's a really toxic work environment. But for some people it works. Some people it's a good job for them. It's a good secure job. You can get finance. You can buy, like I couldn't have bought a house if I wasn't in the council. Yeah. So having a permanent government job is great for buying a house or getting finance or whatever. Yeah. So
it's almost
a good job that way.
I think
but it's shit money too.
Yes, so I've heard that as well. But I think if I was to, I think Jay and I talked about this on a previous episode. Like some people are more than happy to go to work for 8 hours, even if it's a job they hate. And then live their life outside of that 8 hours, knowing that the job provides stability for life. Yeah. Others will happily sacrifice stable work and all that just to do something for 8 hours they like, even if it means an uncertainty each month, each year in order to, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's interesting to see where people, you know, fall at. Do they more happy to tough it out for 8 hours, knowing that the moment they knock off, they can leave work at the door and enjoy the 16 hours outside of that? Or must they have something of worth for 8 hours a day, even if it means uncertainty?
Most guys at the council have a sideline. They call it your sideline. So they'll do other things to make money outside the council. Yeah. But
their home base is just knowing they got that 8 hours worth of stability and it's a life of stability.
You know, there's contractors and stuff like ex-truck drivers and all that used to have to put the tender in for the work and all that sort of thing. They made way more money. Then they end up driving a truck for the council anyway because it's just brain dead. You don't have to think. You just go in and do it, get your money. Simple life. Yeah. So it can work for some people, you know. Drove me nuts in the end. I just couldn't do it. Yeah. There's no, you know, it's soul destroying. Yeah. Especially if you've got a creative spirit, you know, and you want to do other things. Yeah. It's not, you know, but that's the thing. It's like do it for a certain amount of years, get the money together, and then go and do what you want. Yeah. Like, I don't know. That's my only advice. Or sue the right people. Who
can I sue? I'm actually becoming a lot more like
this dude. At least he sort of does work that helps people.
Yeah, that's right.
He's always been in a service sort of, and I always admired Yowie for that because I was like, I'm a real prick of an employee. I'm the worst employee ever. I'm great working for myself. Yeah, but at least this dude sort of he goes and helps people and gets paid for it, so it's a double win there, you know. Yeah. You know, I always admire people who can do that, you know, because it's not to be a carer or to do any of that sort of service work is great. They don't get paid enough.
Yeah.
doctors, teachers,
cheers, mate.
nurses, and that. Oh, it's good, man. It's good that you do it because you have to be a certain type of. You have to have a lot of patience. Some of your stories are great.
Yeah.
From the people that you always cared for. It's just like,
Yeah.
what the hell? You know, you have to have a lot of patience to do that sort of work. And I get a lot of those customers in the shop that bring their carer in with them. Like I get heaps in the shop, and it's like it's always entertaining for me. Sort of because not it being mean or anything.
No,
but
it can be.
One dude comes in and he's just always like got his pen and paper, and he's like he just comes in the shop, goes to the CDs at the back, and just writes down all the CDs and goes, "What?" And he brings them to the counter. What is this one? And I'm like, "That's so and so." And like his carer's just standing in the corner laughing, going, I'm like, I'll just let them do their thing. It's all cool. Yeah. I'm like, you got to buy something next time. He's like, next time. I'm like, next time you buy something.
Or no entry.
Or get out.
It's a good thing for, like, you used to bring a lot of your clients in as well, because it's a good thing for them to do, to bring them into the records. I get heaps, at least 4 or 5 a week of different care, and they know now that because it takes up time in the day. You know, it's not good for them to just sit there and watch TV all day, so they take them on outings and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and for
I don't think you do that anymore, do you?
I was doing
you
support.
work for one of the.
I'm doing I'm case managing in or case working in homelessness now.
Yeah, so it's always done that service type work, which is good. Good work.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, can you elaborate a little bit more on like what you do as well for what you can anyway, and what you're happy to share as well for the listeners?
At the moment, I'm a caseworker within homelessness. So
getting people into houses, getting them in, and
rough
it's an
trot
upstairs.
at the moment with the housing crisis.
Yeah.
So,
that's a job, man. Like honestly, so you're not just a carer, and you're not.
Oh no, that's
totally different.
I've left that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So like, geez, this kind of goes full circle back to the whole government thing, doesn't it? Fucking hell. Like honestly, the housing crisis is unreal at the moment. So like, what sort of you're helping people who are homeless? As well?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's that like at the moment in Townsville specifically?
It's rough, man.
Yeah.
It's rough. There is a lot of homelessness here.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's like stuff that you wouldn't see. Like, you know, we all know that like you see certain people in the city and you know, they've been living in the park or whatever for years or whatever. But like there's people sleeping in cars all over the place that, like, you know, the general public don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you think it's statistics that the news don't want people to know to make it so they can hide how bad it is? Or do you openly see like the statistics?
It's public knowledge now. There's even those current affairs and all that are doing stories on people who are the Yowie's helping homeless people that can't get accommodation, right?
Yeah.
Or can't get somewhere to live permanently, but there's working people who live in their cars.
Can't
get somewhere to rent. You know, like
some of the people that I've met, they have a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a job, but like they can't afford, you know. Look, you'd be surprised how many people have now that they've learnt that they can get a decent setup in like a van or whatever, and they go, I love this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So convert the back of a van with like a little mattress. Yeah.
Yep.
It's massive in America now.
Yeah.
So and it's starting to happen in Australia big time.
Yeah.
They're trying to discourage it. Like there was heaps of people doing it down at Palaranda.
Yep.
About 12 months ago. Now there's almost none because
they move them on,
the
don't they?
council and security and like security that was hired by the council.
Yeah.
A lot of those campgrounds just outside of town as well, because we used to go up there and do the little roads in there and stuff like that when I was in the council, and there was it was full of people just living there basically in their vehicles, and that was in 2017, 2016.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine what it's like now.
Yeah.
You do see them around. You see them in an Uber. You see them at the community centre and stuff. They'll just pull up overnight, camp, move. Or down at the BP at Fairfield and stuff like that.
But it's surprising how many
problem.
people that like even people that live under trees basically don't want your help.
Yeah.
But I think majority of those people, I would say majority, not all of them, but majority, they have mental health issues, man. you know.
Yeah.
So they don't trust you. You know?
Yeah.
So, you know, you're
Colorado in America just started a scheme and it's working apparently, and they're giving them a certain amount every month and to get them into housing. But I just watched an Instagram thing on it. It's the only state in America that's doing it. Colorado are pretty forward thinking with things like that, with their cannabis laws and stuff, and pumping money back into their citizens. And it was something like they were giving them a universal income, like the dole or something or more. And it was helping them get in and helping them get into housing and stuff like that. But we just don't have them here. There's just physically not enough houses
there's
and flats to go around, especially with the immigration that's going on in Australia. So they're pumping heaps of people in, but there's nowhere to live.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they saw this coming. You know what I mean?
No.
Because like I think the Department of Housing, I don't think this is any secret that they sold off heaps of properties.
Oh yeah.
In the last few years.
Yeah.
And then this happens. You know? So I mean, I don't think anyone saw it coming.
Yeah.
Even people who are working, who are trying to get a mortgage and buy their first house or whatever, there's not enough houses for them, especially in the big cities.
Yeah.
Nothing. Their building can't keep up.
Yeah.
I've watched a few videos lately about it, let alone homeless people. Like they're like last priority.
Do you think
So if people who are full on got heaps of money and stuff can't buy a house, then how's a homeless person going to get a house?
Yeah.
Like that's a big, you know.
Do you think with
ridiculous.
renters these days, I don't know if anyone knows, but do the owners of the house have any persuasion over real estate agents choosing who goes in their house or not?
Yeah, no, it all goes through the
It
owner.
all goes through the owner? Because
So
I remember
the real estate will put forward 5 names. The owner looks at what they do for a job, how many kids they got, if they got pets.
Well, that's
blah,
what I was
blah,
going to
blah.
ask. When I was looking for a rental a while back,
You are vetted.
I got offered so many. And the one thing they were asking me and were basically saying to me was, because I don't have kids, I'm pushed right to the front.
Yeah.
Which I thought was, I
So
didn't
what the
actually
owner of the
realise.
house, so whoever owns the house will give the real estate parameters.
Yeah.
They'll say no pets, no kids.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
The first thing they do is look at your income.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rent can't be any more than 30% of your income.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
go from there.
Yeah. So if your weekly rent is more than 30% of your weekly income, you're an automatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In saying that though, I've had to change properties a few times now, and I've also been in that circumstance where, I've had a good job for years, and then I've come into circumstances where I've had to move because either my sister moved away from Townsville at one stage, and then the rent was going up, and I was like, I couldn't afford the house on my own. So I had to downgrade and then go to another house, and then I had to leave the last house we were at because the bathroom was real shit and getting molded out, and the owner wasn't doing anything about it, and so I moved to here.
This place is awesome.
And this place is awesome.
It is. I walked in and went, wow, there's a cathedral.
Yeah. But the thing
awesome.
is, right, saying about that, the 30% cap and all that sort of stuff, I just know how to sweet talk the real estate agents a little bit, because I get in their pocket and I'm like, well, look, it's not my fault I've had to keep moving every time. I've got a daughter, got a partner. We need to find somewhere good to live.
The gift of the gab helps a lot too. A lot of people who are disadvantaged in that they can't haggle. They don't know how to. Yeah. It's everything. There's a million different circumstances as well.
Yeah,
exactly.
So that's the thing. The job that you're doing is that's an uphill battle. That one.
Yeah, dude, it's big time. But you'd also be surprised how picky people can be when they've got nothing.
Yeah.
And you go, all right, so this is. You got to explain, like I won't say the organisation I work for, but
this is what we got you.
Yeah,
it's as good as it gets for you.
It's like this. We don't own properties, so we have to source them.
Yeah,
this is the type of accommodation we can get you. Oh no, like you get that a lot. Yeah, they just want their 1-bedroom apartment, and it's like, yeah, well, mate. That's not realistic. That and in this current time, what you want is not what you're going to get, unless you go and get a job.
Yeah.
Like
So the public housing's shrunk a lot. There's a long waiting list.
But for all the stuff that we've been saying about shit canning government, what the government does do for people, man, like
Yeah.
Working for this organisation has opened my eyes
Yeah.
big time to how much support and stuff there is for people
Yeah.
to access.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's funding coming from government.
Yeah.
So to give you an example, if I went out on the street and found someone and I could find them a place to move into, and I'm talking like they're on the street, they have nothing.
Yeah.
We can get them into the place. We can't pay their bond, but we might be able to pay the first 2 weeks rent.
Yeah.
So we can go, boom, here's your first 2 weeks rent. Here's a fridge, a washing machine, a bed, a lounge suite, a dining room table, whatever.
Wow.
And you can do that every day if you've got the means to be able to do it. As in the properties to be able to do that.
There's a definite safety net in Australia.
So I mean, as much as we shit
go.
can government and look, they deserve some of the shit canning they get. They do some pretty awesome stuff here too, man.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
That actually, and then tying that all back to the government thing again as well. And you're saying, obviously there are some things that you can shit can the government for, but like Medicare.
Yeah.
Even just that alone is fucking awesome. Like my partner,
time, man.
my partner has come from America.
Yeah, none of
that. And she's still in the process now of trying to get access to Medicare. And she's been living here for 5 years, hasn't been able to get free anything for going to the doctor. She's had to have, her health insurance and stuff to help cover that. And then now she's going to be able to get Medicare. So
Australia's had the luxury of being able to cherry pick some of the best sort of ideas from other countries around the world as it's gone along.
Yeah,
and Medicare was a good one. So that's the thing.
I was talking to sorry.
You're right, man.
I was talking to an American this morning, and they said that they still go back there every now and then or whatever. And I said, so do you think you'll ever live over there again? And they're like, no.
Yeah.
They were just like flat out, no way.
There's lots of Australians that are moving to Asia, like retiring in Thailand and Philippines and all places like that won't come back to Australia because it's too expensive now.
Yeah, right.
So it's they're like, nah, not coming back to Australia. And I'm just like, wow.
But just the simple things like we take for granted, Medicare, like our wage, like the lowest wages or whatever over there, like
low.
Yeah, proper low.
Minuscule, man.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of them. That's why they reckon hospitality in America, like people are so good at their job and so hospitable because they can make more off tips.
Yeah.
Than the
Speaking of Trump, have you seen what he's just done with that one? He's now going to
tip everyone.
No, his latest policy, and it's like, winner on that one. He's not going to tax tips anymore. So all these, I remember when I was over there. So all those people make a lot of their income. They make their main income because if you're a bar staff, they get paid bugger all per hour. They make all their money on tips. He's not going to tax them. So they're all just like, so he's going to get all those votes. Wow. It's a pretty smart move because I remember when I was there, I was talking to lots of bar staff and all that because I'm an ex-bartender, pokey attendant and all that. So I was over there talking to them and they're like, but then we got to pay tax on our tips. And I'm like, how would they even know? It's in a jar. And it's the boss counts it, divvies it out, and then they have to pay tax on their tips. So he's just come out and done that one. So he does all these little tidbits to get. That's a big That's a big voting pool there of service people in America, like service industry people.
But you got to have someone who's declaring.
But if they're getting rid of all these, if they're getting rid of all the taxes, I'm thinking, how are you going to fund anything, Donald? If you're not going to tax anyone, so it's just weird how it makes you just think: is it real? Is this all real? But how did the government pay people's wages for 2 years in Australia when they had no money? Like they were trying to get money out of the Liberal government to get funding for anything that you guys are doing, right?
Yeah.
And Liberal were like, no, we're broke, can't afford that. And then afterwards, they're like, we'll just pay all your wages for 2 years. I'm like, well, where did that money come from if you couldn't afford to fund public housing?
When all the COVID shit happened,
it's like,
when all the COVID shit happened, and it was like you could, like you were getting all your COVID payments, and they'd cover you like was it 70% of your income or something for a while?
Yeah, I don't remember.
If you
job keeper, job seeker.
If you could prove that you've been let go because of the whole COVID thing and blah blah blah, you were getting some sort of.
I got $700 for catching COVID. from ScoMo.
Oh, yeah. So you
They just gave you a one-off payment. I got a one-off payment as well.
Yeah, if you caught it, you'd get a
I'm like,
payment.
where are they
but then
getting this money from?
there
Like,
was some sort of wasn't there some sort of payment you could
there was
get?
there was job keeper and job seeker.
Yeah, whatever
There's
it
two of
was.
them.
Yeah, and like I was like, this is going to come back and bite us in the ass hard, man. You cannot fork out that amount of money. And
you notice how nothing they haven't talked about it. Oh, we've got to pay that back to someone, or it was just sort of.
but that's why
disappeared.
the cost of living and everything's gone through the fucking roof.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's from
man.
that. So
I don't think it's solely
why do
because of
beans
that.
cost more? Because they gave money for us to be paid, like because that doesn't correlate.
The taxes on alcohol and everything are just going up and up and up and up and up. They're making their money back somehow.
Just interesting because that was a lot of money they shelled out.
Yeah.
And letting everyone tap into their super, so no one's got super anymore. They all partied with it.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah. And it's like, not a good idea, people. Don't do that. But yeah, I know a lot of people who took all their super out and had a good time.
Really?
You can only take
What? The 20-somethings and 30-somethings in Australia in that time, a good majority of them have no super now.
They've just
very
fucked
little.
themselves.
Well, you could get 10 grand at a pop. You could do it twice.
Yeah,
Oh,
twice.
really? Yeah,
20
right.
grand, people were getting out and just
Yeah.
living on it. A lot of them were living on it.
Yeah.
So all this money just got pulled out of our economy. So it's just it is going to be interesting the next few 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. It's going to be like, I was sitting there with popcorn just watching what's going to happen because it's like very interesting times.
Yeah. And that's what
in
I
this
meant
country.
by the comment before. Like some of the younger people I know are like, I ain't having kids. I've
Well, there won't be
seen
a-
where this world's going in the next 10 years. Like, I don't particularly want to.
It's a very expensive hobby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's
Yeah.
like, man, it's going to hell in a handbasket. By the look of it. But then again, this is in the 70s. They used to say it. You know, the Vietnam War was going on and everything. People we've been at war. Like, there's been so many horrible things happen over there, and the older people would be like, "Oh, it's going to hell in a handbasket." Blah blah.
Everyone says that. And
exactly. And
the
then,
facts are, the world is becoming a better place. It is. Like, that's factual.
the only bad thing about it is population. It's just too big.
there's that sort of thing. But like, if you want to talk about like whether we end up having a fallout and like this whole thing about like we've got to change things or we're going to fuck the world. We're not going to fuck the world. We're going to fuck ourselves. Mm-hmm. This planet's been around for billions of years before us. If we got wiped out today, it'll fucking carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have to be here for the world to carry on. So that's the conversation.
Plastic straws aren't going to change a thing.
But that's the conversation. Like,
Did you like that meme I sent the other day?
about
It's a picture of Los Angeles today, and there's just shit everywhere. And it's like, lucky we got rid of those plastic straws.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
No,
What
you're
were you
right.
saying?
You're right. No, I'm just like,
Yeah.
like I
know what
think
you're
the
saying,
conversation kind of more needs to be not so much just around the world. It needs to be about the fucking human species.
Yeah.
Like, we will kill ourselves if we keep going the way we're going with not looking after the world. But the world won't allow us to fuck it.
Unfortunately, you get humans, you're humans with ideologies as well. There's ideologies that are kicking around the planet at the moment that are from the Stone Age. You know? And then they mix them with modern ideology. Like, starts with M, but anyhow. But the thing is, like, those people, they'll mix them with people from the West, and we'll have our values and our systems and all that. They don't mix. It's like oil and water, and that's when problems come about. Like, look at Germany, look at Sweden, look at places like France. They're fucked. You know, they're fucked. Their countries are fucked. And it all started with America's foreign policies going and bombing all those countries in the Middle East. And then all those people get up and walk out of those countries through Africa into Europe. Yeah. And America goes, well, nothing to do with us. Yeah. Like, they should be going to America, not Germany and Sweden. They're the ones who started it and bombed everything. Yeah. So, yeah, it's interesting how it all goes in circles. And then you know, America their problems are at their southern border, with all South Americans going into America, but it's like, man, they should also be taking all the people from the Middle East that they bombed their houses. Yeah. If you're going to go on Star Wars, you need to sort of, that's the thing, Germany and all that would have felt guilty and said, oh, well, you can come in. We were over there helping America, so now you can come into our country, but then it doesn't work. Things don't work out that good. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say those countries are fucked. They're going through some stuff.
Sweden's going through some stuff.
Because of the amount of people they let in.
10% of their population they let in.
Yeah, like I get it. I get
crazy.
like, because resources, like, you know what I mean? But I mean, fuck, I mean, I don't know. Like I don't think America's anything to fucking try and aspire to.
No, the thing about it is
Like,
if you don't want those people living in your country, don't go and bomb the shit out of their country to make it uninhabitable.
Yeah.
So
Sounds like a tip of the week.
tip of the week. America,
good
stop
tip.
bombing the shit out of everyone. Please make plates and cups like China.
Yeah.
Try and help instead of making bombs and tanks.
Yeah.
Like, fuck's sake.
Well,
Enough's enough.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not allowed to have guns. Why are they allowed to have tanks and shit?
Exactly. Fuck.
Why can you buy a tank in Texas?
Yeah. Fuck 'em.
You can. You can. You can buy.
Wait, a normal
You can go
civvy
buy-
can go buy a tank.
Fuck yeah. You can buy a bazooka. You can buy whatever you want.
Well, speaking about what you want and what you want to get, we should probably lighten the mood up and get a little bit more of guns, government, and God. and I think just on that topic of like wanting to do what you want to do, all of us are all musicians, right? And we all like to do music. And so talking about what we want to do, let's just have a quick discussion at the end of this the end of this episode, and let's talk about like what we want to do. So, boys, we already spoke about what you guys do in the past episodes that we've had you on, but like, what do you like music? What do you like about music, and what does it mean to you for like being able to do what you want to do? You know, like how can you both see like how that just helps relax you and you know, turning off all the outside shit that goes on in our heads. You know what I mean? Just come back to music. How does that make it all better? Or does it make it all better? Because for me, talking about the guns and stuff like that, it's like, man, hunting makes me just relaxed. And it goes right back to that inner being of myself where I'm like, you know what? If all I had was just going hunting, getting out in the wilderness, like to me that soothes my soul and makes it, you know, all good. And I know for Benny's said that so many times where he's just like, if I can just have my music, like that just proper chills me.
I just went and saw that documentary last night. It was not documentary, it's a rockumentary. Well, it's actually a live show of Ghost, that band, and it was awesome. And it was cool to go and see that, and sort of it made me like seeing that live show. It was live at the LA Forum, and just the theatrics of it and everything, and the music and the songwriting and all that. And I was sitting there thinking, holy shit, I haven't been to a gig for so long, and it sort of made me miss it and stuff like that. So I've been a bit of a hermit for the last few years. So I'm looking forward to heading down south a bit more often and seeing bands and concerts and stuff like that, because I'm not in a band anymore. I don't do music anymore per se. I just pedal it.
You provide it,
I
and
pedal it.
That's almost equally as important, man.
Yeah,
like
that's the thing. It's
providing
like-
that music to people.
It's a hard slog
you know,
doing music, man. Like to try and do it as a living and all that in Australia is it's a very uphill battle. It's very, very hard. And I watch you guys do it, and it's awesome that you're doing it, because I don't do it anymore. Yeah. And I haven't done it since I was in my late 20s. So, but that was the thing. I've always had I'm always a massive music fan first and foremost. And even owning a record shop, I'm still pilfering stuff out. So I'm a fan first and foremost.
See, I look at someone like you. If I remember back to like 10 years ago when Pet Sounds were around in Townsville. Yeah. Shout out to Ray. He's out there with all these records still. That
Give me
Mick's
your
trying to
records,
get.
man. Call me Ray.
Sorry.
At the Spondools.
Spondools. When Ray used to call me and go, hey, I got your record, like I got your CD in, you know, it was something I've been waiting for weeks. That was the best phone call I ever received all week.
I used to love CDs.
You know what I mean?
I used to buy like 2 or 3 CDs and a carton of piss. Yeah. And just go, hell yeah, I'm going to have a good night tonight.
Simple time.
And wake
you
up
go
with
home, put the CD on.
Wake up with a snapped CD covered in your own vomit. Awesome. No.
Good times.
Good times. No, just having that brand new CD and you're sitting there having a beer and like reading the liner notes and all that sort of stuff, and you still do it. I'm not as young and enthusiastic. I don't read the liner notes of an LP anymore. I'm like, just put it in my collection and go, there you go, sort of thing. But it's cool that young people are doing it, and music is key. Yeah, it's key, and it's tribal. It's primordial.
Yeah.
It's the drums,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Well, like
It's
if you
the
were to look
drums.
at the CD Yowie and I have done for homeostasis.
I'm about to get copies.
Do
you have that,
there.
by the way?
I do. Sorry, it's in the box over there. By the time this episode comes out, it'll all be out in the public.
I'll be
but-
selling them at Rock Ape Records, by the way, everyone. I'll be selling
Go get
their
'em.
CD.
Go get 'em.
I'm
Like,
looking forward to that.
If I was to hold that, and we were getting all that together with the record label and like even looking at all the inside notes and
Yeah.
it's a whole package.
Oh,
And
yeah.
almost seeing the artwork and everything come together to me was almost as exciting as having the songs released back in the day. Like it's something you can
That's
physically
the thing,
hold
it's
now.
tangible, man. And
Yeah.
then the thing is, once it's done and you've played it for 6 months and you look at it, you're like, right, on to the next one.
Yeah.
Let's do another CD. And then
Yeah.
sort of you just keep doing it. That becomes part of your legacy and your catalog.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is, I keep telling people that give up on music and that I'm like, keep going, just keep doing
Yeah.
it. It's my only advice to you is just keep doing it, keep releasing stuff. And, it becomes part of your fucking
Yeah.
back catalog, man. Like, doesn't matter how many CDs. It's just like, it doesn't matter if you're doing a podcast, if you've got a record shop, just keep going.
Yeah.
Try your hardest, at least anyway,
Yeah.
to just keep going on what you
Yeah.
love to do, especially if it's to do with music,
Yeah.
because you're going to help people. Like, even if you're doing it for your own catharsis.
Well, there's
it's
been
like-
some times where I'll go to your shop, I'll look through the secondhand bins,
Yeah,
and
'cause
I'll
you're a
find
tight ass.
something. No, because hold on. Yeah, well, that too.
I'll look in the dollar bin.
Yeah, but you'll find some gold in there that
Yeah, dude.
you
Yeah.
forgot even existed.
Yeah.
And you remember maybe hearing this for the first time 20 years ago, bringing back all the memories and
You're
nostalgia.
always pulling CDs out of the
Yeah.
bargain bin.
Yeah,
Good
and
stuff.
then-
I'm like, that should be $30.
It's rare, it's 50. And I'll like have a memory of it. And meanwhile, these musos have probably moved on in life, kids,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, and they have no idea that there's one person still that's like had this memory of their song they created
Yeah.
20, 30 years ago
That's
that
the
just lives
thing.
on. It lives on through so many generations. Like there'll be a point in time where I might not all have my CDs anymore. They might get rid of, they might sold them in another 10 years. Someone else is going to find that CD.
Music creates community, man,
Yeah.
and it really does.
Yeah.
Whether it's a metalhead community or whether it's doesn't matter. It just me having a record shop. No, I know that there's a community of people who are into similar things, or they can at least talk about something. It brings people together. It's a
Yeah.
good thing.
Yeah.
It's never been a bad thing. It's never
Yeah.
a bad thing to be creative, and
Hell
I'll
no.
always try and
Yeah.
support that as much as I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I make $1 on the side, hey.
Yeah. Yeah. It just reminds people of time and places, I think.
Yeah.
Like there'd be some CDs I'll pull out of my collection and I'll remember listening to Yowie's house 10, 15 years ago. I'll specifically remember listening to a CD. And it just takes me back. Oh, man, remember all those wild parties we had where we'd be up to 3 a.m. in the morning cranking some metal. It just brings back memories. And that artist probably has no idea of the memories that song creates with some people. So
Well,
that's how I look at it anyway.
you're going to have to get. We should, it's a pity we don't have the CD to show.
Oh,
Oh, they're just over there.
Go and grab one and go. Oh, good, mate.
You can if you want.
You can
Oh,
do it,
go and
man.
get it.
I
One second.
want to see it.
Just pan
I want
camera.
a signed copy.
We'll be back in just 1 second.
A few moments later.
We're back.
Casting couch.
Would you like to do the honour, Yowie?
What-
Is this your
what?
project too?
That
Oh,
looks
Jay can do
awesome
the
from
honour,
here.
yeah.
Well, we're going to hold it up or something. And I haven't got my glasses on.
Yeah.
So that I really like the artwork to this amniostasis. What is the title of it?
It's just self-titled.
Self-titled. Oh, amniostasis.
Yes, we couldn't
And it's
think of a title.
What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4-track EP. It's
Yeah.
the unboxing. Oh my god! Look at you two. That looks.
Handsome
You guys
devils.
just look evil there. Look at that.
Gorgeous.
This is awesome. I want a signed copy. So
I'm sure we can arrange
that is
that,
awesome,
mate.
man.
No, cheers,
I'm proud
man.
of you guys for doing this.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Saying I feel slack because I was always saying I'll fund it. I'll get you on. I want to bring this. I want this. I want to bring this out on vinyl. And
Yeah,
have my
yeah,
Rock
yeah.
Ape Records in the corner.
Yeah.
But man, I've looked into starting a record label, and it's
Yeah.
I'll leave it up to these
Yeah.
guys, man. It's a hard slog.
What you
as
need
well.
to do is sue
That's
the
thing.
council again.
Yeah,
to
get some
get
funding
to get more
start
money
Rock Ape Records
and do that.
the actual
Yeah.
label, because that's cool, dude.
No,
Yeah.
cheers, man. Thank you.
That's
And
awesome,
then
man.
make sure you put that right next to the other side of the council.
Yeah.
Be like,
The
thank
only-
you, council.
The only thing I can say about this is it's not heavy enough. Okay,
Yeah.
it's not heavy enough.
We need to do a bit more.
Everyone, when you get a chance, when this comes on, is it released yet?
No.
27th.
Oh, man, when
Well,
it
by the
comes
time this is
Yeah.
aired, this will be out. Get on
it'll-
Spotify. Listen to amniostasis. It's a thing. It's a word.
Well,
and
get
it's
on
the heavy-
Bandcamp now.
Get on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Buy
So,
it.
yeah.
Come to Rock Ape. Buy it.
I guess we
wherever.
should say it's available through Bandcamp.
Yeah.
The Amniostasis Bandcamp page and the label Gutter Prince Cabal.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll put the links.
Yeah, all the links down below.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
sick,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
So, and like we've talked about, like we've got nothing but good things to say about Gutter Prince Cabal.
Yeah.
Like, they're awesome.
Yeah.
Like, just it's an absolute honor to
Yeah.
be on that label.
They were easy to
'cause-
deal with too. Like it wasn't.
Man, they have been awesome through the whole process.
They'll get that.
just-
They'll get that out to other shops as well. Hopefully.
Well, yeah,
So-
man, they've got European and US
Nice.
distribution.
Yeah.
Nice.
They've been nothing but cool dudes.
It's cool. It's really
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
artwork
And
too.
funny enough,
Yeah.
like we met them like 10 years ago and had no idea that. Well,
Yeah,
we met Chris anyway.
Chris,
so
yeah.
at another gig.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a good thing. I can't wait to. I actually want to hear it now. I'm playing the Bombador.
With the Masala still in the back.
I'll wait for my copies to come from
Yeah.
the shop.
Man, yeah.
I got 8 copies coming. There'll be 7 in the shop.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I just spruik it to every young Billy who walks in. I'm like, you want to listen to something heavy? I'll listen to this shit.
Yeah.
They'll be like, that's not a word. I'm like, amniostasis is a word. It's a
is.
real thing.
Yeah.
Listen
Yeah.
to it, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
No worries.
No, awesome. Well, we should wrap up the episode. So thank you guys so
Thank
much
you.
for coming on for both of your round twos. It's good to have you back on, and it's
Cheers,
good to
man.
have you both together on the episode as well. So it's been a great deep dive into a whole bunch of random shit that we've just rattled off
You
about.
did
So-
it again. I keep looking at that sign there. It says Garbutt Heights.
Yeah,
You just keep
Garb.
laughing, man. I'm like, well, are we in Garbutt Heights here?
Garbay
It's
Heights.
a pretty expansive place.
Garbutt.
I haven't been to Garbutt for a while. I have to do a spin through there. So.
yeah.
Just have plenty of fuel, mate. Go
Wind the
straight on
windows
through. Yeah.
Fit right in with your Commodore.
Hey, it's still going. It's still going. It's still if we do a podcast in 6 months, a year, you'd be like, you still got a Commodore? I'm like, she's still going. Yeah. It's just lost a little bit more paint off the sides because I've scraped it up another wall. But that's all right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still going, boys.
You love it. Well, anyway, Rock 8 Records, everyone, links down below. You can find it on Google. All the links to
Instagram,
that.
I've got a YouTube channel now.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's new.
Yeah,
So
if
it's
you want to
just-
see some professional unboxing videos that slightly touch on ASMR, this is your guy right here.
At Rock 8 Records on YouTube as well. So yeah, check out my YouTube videos. I've been quite amusing myself doing them.
He dresses up
awesome.
too. Like,
Yeah, so if we did the black metal special
Yeah.
and showed all my black metal vinyl, and I'd put corpse paint on
Yeah, yeah.
and all that. So.
Oh, that's what that paint was for.
Yeah, I drove
saw
home
that
like
on
that. I drove home. I had the windows down in the city, and I was playing Bob Marley full blast, and all these people at the pedestrian crossing are looking at me, and I'm like, don't cry. And they're just like, what the fuck? And I was like, hey. And I was just in full black metal gear going past the big cop station in the city.
That's funny as shit.
So I
man.
got home and just got in the shower. The soap hurts more in my eyes than the paint itself. It was like, it's like a bit of a pain to get off. But yeah, I dress up for a lot of them.
Oh, good work.
So,
yeah, well,
yeah.
peeps, go and check out that channel, link below. And Yowie, anything for you, man? Want to link to anywhere? Obviously, you got Amniostasis with Benny.
Support us,
Yep.
please.
we're desperate musicians.
Just start by buying.
No,
Get
but
on
yeah, in all
Bandcamp and buy their
yeah.
CD. It's
Yeah.
the best
in
way.
all seriousness, to like, I'm sure you've heard it before, but like, streaming services, bands make zilch, man. Like, what you buying one CD would be like probably 10 years worth of streams. It's like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Honestly,
Even
like,
if you
it's-
don't play CDs anymore, get on there and just stick it up on your wall.
Yeah, put
Because
it
it's
in your,
Townsville local, especially
put
if
it
you're
in your
Townsville.
Xbox or your fucking
Work out a way.
PS5 or something.
Get
or,
some, get some antique
Yeah.
CD playing machine and play the bloody
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Or your cars. Everyone has a car these days. Not
Man,
everyone,
my
sorry,
car
but
CD player shat itself. I went and bought a portable DVD
Yeah.
There you
and
go.
just aux cable, boom.
Yeah.
And
A lot
yeah.
of,
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
thing about metalheads, and the beauty of what you're doing is because they're loyal and they'll still buy CDs, they'll still
Yeah,
buy
man.
vinyl, they'll buy
Yeah.
cassettes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
next.
Yeah.
Cassettes. Get it. Amniostasis cassette, amniostasis vinyl.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've just got to wait for some more people to sue and the money to come through, and I'll start the label, and we'll have amniostasis t-shirts, coffee cups,
Yeah.
hats.
I think
Exactly.
out on the road out there, there's a pothole that you might break your ankle in on the way out.
yeah.
And yeah.
As long
Yeah.
as it's not on your land.
No, you'll be fine, mate. It's all good. It's all
Hey, we
good.
might do some coffee cups.
He's got a coffee cup already. He couldn't
I
help
did
himself.
it. Yeah. I did like a little prototype to
Yeah,
it.
hell yeah.
And like, it's one of those ones like it just looks black.
Yeah.
But when you fill it up,
Oh,
the heat.
hell
and then-
yeah. That's
and then
awesome.
Yeah.
Then the artwork appears.
that is
and-
cool.
Yeah, I was like,
I like that.
we should do these, man. This actually looks cool.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Brutal way to start your morning cup
Yes.
of coffee. Yeah.
That is really, really
Metal
cool.
mugs.
Metal mugs.
You have to think about to start thinking, getting a list together of the most random products you can with amniostasis printed on it.
Yeah.
Try and keep it G-rated.
Amniostasis,
say.
condoms.
All right, here we go. This is going to end badly if we keep
For
going.
when you really want to fucking
Amnio flashlight.
Yeah. I wasn't going to go there, but that's pretty much what I was thinking.
I said it.
Yeah.
All right.
Every time there's pressure in there, like a sample of the song comes out.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Anyway.
All right. Links to everything that we do down below. You can find us everywhere. We've said it time and time again, but yeah, basically just thatbjshow.com. You can find where we are on all listening platforms as well as YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all the socials at thatbjshow. And our email address is thatbjshow@gmail.com.
Oh, yeah.
For all feedback and questions and tips and all that sort of good stuff. And also there's a Patreon as well. So just like how these boys are trying to make music and realistically you just don't need the help of others, but every cent, mate.
it helps.
Yeah,
it helps.
Just
So-
fold it back in.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
That's
So
what happens
it just
with-
helps you grow and produce more music and just helps do more. So the same things with us as well. We're not asking for anything, but if you want to contribute, all the help is greatly appreciated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, show.
So thank you, boys, again for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us,
No
lads.
tip of the day because you already gave it to us before, but unless you want to have a
My
little
tip.
bonus
Yeah.
too.
Any other tip?
I don't know. I'm
Just
just
be
trying
a
to
fucking decent human.
be a good human.
That's a good one. I like that.
Oh, that's sad no more.
Be a good human. Shop local.
Yeah. Yeah.
At Rocket Records.
Yeah. And apparently, fuck you, Townsville City Council, I think was the final tip from.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Goodbye and good riddance.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, guys. I'll see you in the next episode.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Thank you.
One second later.
1 second later. So I didn't know you had copies.
Meanwhile.
I got 8 of them coming.
That's what she said.
Ooh. Had a big slash at the shop. And I've had a gunner first thing this morning. I should be right for an hour.
Oh, goons.
I'll be right for an hour.
Yeah.
Nah, do
What are you doing? Are you walking around with your eyes shut?
Do you reckon it's a Townsville thing?
I don't know if it's.
I reckon it is. I reckon it is.
We've just deduced after doing like a lot of internet stuff, a lot of media stuff, and all these things, and owning a business and that. I've deduced that most people are pretty fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, there's
seriously, man.
that as
You're just
well.
finding that out?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, I had more faith in humanity.
There's your first mistake.
The last 4 years, I've just had less and less faith in humanity. I'm like, work it out, man. Like, they need their hands held. One dude, I was like guiding him in.
Yeah.
Like it's like, fuck, man. How hard is it?